Good afternoon again from Yummy BTV, wishing you all well. It's really cold outside. I don't think I'm traveling today, so I might leave it until tomorrow, right? But I'll keep you posted on that. So, yeah, we're doing different cultures and countries, and in this video now, really harrowing thing to witness, and it's a thing I've been guilty of myself in the past as well, ashamed to say. And we talk today, HMP SWALESIDE in the 90s, and I was all alone behind the door again. So during this time, and I've done a video for you lot on SWALESIDE before, it really should have been a category A prison. It is an absolute nut house. There are loads of blind spots there. When I say blind spots, spots where you can do anything you want without the prison staff seeing on some of the wings there in the old days. I haven't been there in recent times, right? And during that time, some of the names in the early stages of my journey that I spoke about with warlords and all that kind of shit, yeah, were all around. The difference between now, all right, so the difference between now and then, anyway, is that all the men around at that time, there wasn't really no gangs. A lot of us did all our stuff all alone and didn't ask nobody for help. We, in a violent way, in whatever way it takes to survive in the jungle, our era was more a one-man band, all right? Fact. These days, they need about 10-handed to go and do one bloody move. Anyway, so during this time in the 90s, everything was nuts in SWALESIDE, right? And during that time, I met a lot of old Turkish villains, some where I spent a little time in the Cates that were now in B-Cats, and some Kurdish people as well. And this is where I started to learn about the differences with Turkey, Kurdish and Cypriots. You know, there's some undivided. I always thought that everybody was one until I learned around this time, being in prison all my life, right? So the power struggles were going on at that time in SWALESIDE. Everyone's serving up, doing their deals and getting by in the best way that they can, like you expect in a jungle where everybody is a criminal and have criminal minds and still want to play their part in the jungle. Now, the Kurdish and the Turkish in this particular incident fell out. For why? Forget all the politics that go with where they're always beefing each other and that kind of stuff. The particular incident that I am talking about is there was 3 Kurdish geezers, right? They were found guilty of throwing a petrol bomb in a Turkish bank. Now, quote me if I'm wrong or whatever, but I'm remembering Old Street, right? Old Street. That's familiar to me, but you'll be able to look it up, right? So the Turkish, suppose, mafia at that time in SWALESIDE, and the Kurdish had quite a few around them too. And there'd been little scuffles over silly things before. A couple of people got moved back and forth after a little fight on the walkway and things like that, right? But on hearing what they got convicted of, the Turkish mafia put a hit out on them, right? So they got 2 people that were kind of close around me, grafters running around. It's worth remembering that a lot of hitmen in prison are basically off their rockers, right? With substances. Now, the payment to do the hit was something like £50 worth of phone cards, £50 worth of phone cards, and not that much in gear, right? If I remember rightly. So when association came, the 2 that did it were running around telling a few of us and a couple of my mates, listen, don't come nowhere near the kitchen because we are gonna throw some hot oil, boiling fat over someone, and don't be seen talking to him. Right? Because people will still mixing with people. They, they don't care or interested in what other people got with each other, business-wise and what-wise. You talk to who you talk to in prison. But the warning's there that one of them is going to get ironed out, right? Done. So the 2 of them went into the kitchen and waited till the Kurdish geezer was all alone, cooking. they were boiling the chip fat oil with the chips, a big round tub with a fry, you know what I mean. When he went to bend down to get his stuff out the oven, they poured the whole thing over his head, right? And basically legged it. A few people were walking past at the time, right? And saw his face actually start melting and falling apart. A really horrible sight to behold, but it's one of the features in the prison system. It is the most deadliest way and hurtful way of maiming a man for life, really, that you definitely won't be able to stay on the wing. You can stab up a man sometimes, he might go hospital and come back, but once you get that hot fat over you, it is good night Vienna. So locking down the whole prison, right? Listen to this. Everybody obviously going to be panicking, thinking, was I seen walk? Some didn't know, so they might have seen him and run back, because nobody wants to get their name attached to something that they haven't done, because the prison officers could probably come and take us down the block, and it ain't even you, right? So he never got to see who it was anyway. He's in hospital, maimed and all that, right? So I think it was about a 2-3 day lockdown where no one was coming out their cells, and then I guess after a week or so, the police were coming in to interrogate people. So I think they interrogated about 9 people to say that your name's in the frame, blah, 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 you were seen walking and blah, blah. No evidence whatsoever, right? But one person really, really close to me, right? Imagine this for a coincidence. Where the bank was petrol bombed, his family owned, or no, worked in the BT shop next door. He had nothing to do with it. He went on the visit to take the visit, if you get what I mean, to him. What police were you going to see me for? And they said to him, but how do they get information like this? They said to him, they said, look, we know that your family work in the shop next door to the bank that was petrol bombed, basically. Right? He said, yeah, boy, it's just a bloody coincidence and that kind of stuff. And they said, all right, you can go anyway. But imagine that, a horrible sight to behold. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy in life. When I look back over my life, there's some terrible things I'd done. And I would say throughout my whole life, that was probably not that. It wasn't me at all, right? But nah, it's a horrible thing to do to someone. But then when you're an animal, and you're caged up with similar-minded people that will do the same to you if given a chance, and you have to do it. But sometimes there's no way out of things, all right? But I promise you that story, and there it is. I might even go live tonight. Let's see if I travel or not.